Namaste, Jai Hind, and welcome to this special coverage here as the aviation watchdog looking into the tragic crash of the Air India flight AI-171 has now submitted their report to the Civil Aviation Ministry, and this report was out in the dead of the night, the intervening night of the 11th and 12th of July. The report, compiled by the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau, or the AIBB, has been submitted just on its 30-day deadline, and it outlines what exactly went wrong in the final 33 seconds since takeoff. Data shows fuel cutoff switches for both engines were removed from run or were moved from run to cutoff, one after the other. Now, this caused a complete loss of thrust just seconds after liftoff. The cockpit audio, has highlighted in the report, reveals that the 2 points were confused about, or the two pilots, the two pilots were confused about the shutdown of both engines. One even asked the other, why did you shut it off? And the other said, I have not done it. And then they have tried to revive and try to push back and revive the engines in those matter of seconds. The investigators say that this points to either an accidental switch movement or a system failure. Now, soon after the crash report, Air India has said it is working closely with the regulators and other stakeholders and will continue to operate with the authorities in the ongoing probe. But viewers, there are a few questions that emanate based on what's been highlighted in this preliminary report itself. Now, what are the highlights? Let's try and go through the highlights and then we'll get into the questions. First, both the engines were shut down mid-air. So that's one of the first parts that stand out. The other part, that engine 1 showed signs of recovery as the pilots tried to turn that back up. Now, that's also been spoken about, that they tried to push the levers back, but it just didn't happen. And there was too little time. Third, the engine 2 was relit but failed to stabilize. Fuel cutoff switches activated mid-flight. Now, how could that happen? That's a big question. Cockpit recording indicates confusion. Cockpit recording indicates confusion among the pilots because one looked to the other and the other one said, I have not done it. So who's done it? How did it happen? No conclusive evidence of how fuel switch was turned off. And that's where questions are. Technical fault, sabotage, many theories, but it's got to be proven. The other thing is, both engines dropped below idle speed. Back flight recorder 2 was damaged. Too damaged to get any data. So clearly the back flight recorder, there could not be retrieved, data could not be retrieved. Both pilots were well rested, fit to fly and very experienced. Their combined flying hour experience was nearly 10,000 hours of flying, with one senior pilot with more than 8,000 hours of flying. Very experienced, and they had the ability, they were rested. So there was no problem with the pilots. Does this preliminary report absolve the pilots of any error? Initially, the pilots were blamed. There was a lot of mudslinging that happened on the pilots. Does this report now absolve the co-pilots altogether? That's another question. We'll get to that in a bit. The investigation will examine additional evidence going forward.